All right, bitches, welcome back to the Thunderdome. After Shapiro got yelled at by his mom like a little baby last time, we had to adjourn after raiding Radiant Dawn, but we're back to pick this shit back up. Everyone ready?
Something tells me I'm going to die on several hills today.
We're doing fates in 3 houses today, Donald. No shit, we're all going to die on hills today.
Now that those basic-ass games are out of the way, we finally have games I can get passionate about. Let's get it.
Motherfuckers are volatile up in here already. I'll get us started on FE11, or as everyone else knows it, Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon is a really good remake of the game that started us off on this wild ride, and it still holds up to this day.
Not really.
The plot is simple but gets the job done. There's some
one.
crazy underdog stuff Marth has to do to be able to beat Garneth and Medius, and it's got difficulties for everyone. I think FE11 is a solid A tier.
Are we already at this level of bullshittery? Shadow Dragon didn't even hold up 3 days past its release, Barack. The game looks like shit. The visual design is bland, the battle animations are frankly an embarrassment, and the plot is basic as fuck.
First of all, the plot isn't actually basic. It's just that literally every other game in the series has ripped off Shadow Dragon so much that it feels like it's basic. On top of that, FE11 has all kinds of crazy shit. Free reclassing, ballisticians, hilariously powerful units like Wolf and Sedgar. It's a good-ass time, and it's the best way to experience the origins of FE.
Why are the guide and chapter requirements in Shadow Dragon so fucking stupid? Kill off my own units to get extra chapters? What Gibbon over at Intelligent Systems came up with this? And on top of that, on lower difficulties, the game is free as fuck. And on higher difficulties, it's just effective damage spam. Shadow Dragon is probably the worst aged Fire Emblem game from the 21st century, and I mean that with 100% sincerity.
Shut the fuck up, Biden. I saw you talking shit about the late game of FE11, and you still had 9 warp uses left.
Bro, really self-snitched?
You're a Thracia player. Aren't you used to warp skipping bad maps?
Wait, you actually played out those shitty maps normally?
Why are you admitting that they're bad maps? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't really think it's the worst game ever, but it sure as hell isn't going into A tier.
I can't believe we've reached this stage of hostilities already. I can't handle any more blood pressure. I'm putting it into B tier, and we're moving on.
Now let's talk about the reason that FE11 didn't actually hold up. We've got FE11's Buff Dad new mystery here.
No shot.
Take notes, game devs. This is how you make a sequel.
This dude is smoking some good shit right now. FE12 has the exact same problems that Shadow Dragon has. The animations are the same, the character designs are still dull, and the plot is even worse than in FE11. They even took one of the only unique staves in the game anew and decided to nerf it from its FE3 counterpart. Fucking cowards.
Preach, Donald, preach! Chris is the worst addition to any FE game ever. How are you going to take a perfectly functional plot about Hardin's downfall and the allure of dark magic and then randomly insert your Tumblr OC character's plot about saving his waifu from a clan of factory-made hobo assassins? Did I miss a memo of some kind?
FE12 is good for the exact same reasons that FE11 is good. The gameplay is slightly polished, the guide and chapter requirements are not shit, and there's even more freedom in gameplay than in FE11. Every single unit in the game can be made broken as fuck because everyone has respectable growths. You have your star shards, the star sphere, lunatic boosters, tonics and bonds, and just as many bullshit staves as in Thracia, but this time, anyone can reclass into a class with D-rank staves. Rescue is E rank, and Physic Warp and Unlock are all just C rank. For fuck's sake, you get a staff that lets you give any unit on the map an extra turn. How are you guys not on the same page about this being a good game?
Literally, the only thing that FE11 has over FE12 is the existence of ballisticians, and that's it.
Stop the cap. If you keep talking this bullshit, I'm going to turn your username on the server to 27 clown emojis, Joe.
And either way, no fucking way the differences between FE12 and FE11 are enough to put them in completely different tiers. It's the same mechanics, the same maps, the same characters, and the same visuals. Put that shit into B2.
Sorry, boys, but I'm using my executive privilege here and putting FE12 into B tier.
That's bullshit, Barack.
Cry about it.
So, how do you guys feel about Awakening?
Well, I can tell you for sure that Mr. Designated Hater over here is going to say that it's ass, considering it's all he fucking does.
Yeah, fuck you too. Awakening is goated, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The best OST in the series,
Debatable.
the hottest babes in the series,
Debatable.
and fun-ass gameplay.
Debatable.
Awakening was the last FE game where Intelligent Systems wasn't a bunch of fucking pussies. Awakening is big stat Fire Emblem at its best. This was back when Brave weapons were dual phase, and this was the last time it was the case. God, I miss my dual phase Braves.
If you went to the Oxford Dictionary right now and looked up the word nitpicking, you'd find an image of Ben gassing up Awakening.
No way he said that corny-ass
Hold
shit.
the fucking phone here. Are we just going to skate past Jack saying that Awakening has, and I quote, the hottest babes in the series and not say anything?
Joe, do you think Donald still thinks Libra is a woman?
Wait, what?
Bro, I'm dead.
Awakening wasn't the last game with effort put into it. It was the first game where they decided to completely shit on the series' legacy. I don't mind some silly stuff in Fire Emblem, but this shift from relatively serious narratives about war into goofy waifu bait is an objective turn for the worse. And as for the gameplay, well, I can just leave that to Joe.
You're goddamn right you can leave that shit to me. What the fuck do you mean by fun gameplay? There's 2 ways to play Awakening. Either you play it normally and suffer, or you break the game and it's not fun. How is the gameplay fun when 90% of the time the game turns into a Robin solo by the end?
If you went to the Oxford Dictionary right now and looked up the word hypocrite, you'd find an image of Joe talking shit about Awakening. Why are you complaining about Awakening being a solo fest when FE12 is the exact same way?
And if you looked up the definition of uneducated, you'd find your lying ass, Jack. Chris is nowhere near the only unit that's super powerful in FE12. You have Marth, Pala, Sirius, Catria, and other miscellaneous units like your pre-promoted mages that can do a ton of work. You could even realistically replace Chris with Luke with enough effort. There is no such replacement for Robin.
At this point, if we looked up the definition of overused, I think we'd find this bit. At the end of the day, Awakening is just a pretty easy game with a good sense of presentation and atmosphere. I don't see why it doesn't deserve a spot in at least B tier.
You know what? Sure, whatever. I'll just put it in B. We have to save our energy anyways because we're on to the 3 Fates games. Let's start off with Birthright and...
Right in the fucking dumpster, Barack. That's the only place Birthright belongs.
I'm going to fucking strangle you like Germa.
Just because your baby brain can't handle the concept of a game that's made for accessibility doesn't mean that it should go at the bottom. Shouldn't you be a fan of Birthright, considering it's like a gateway drug into the rest of the Fates library?
Birthright was never, is not, and will never be Fates. Birthright is enemy phase Emblem disguised as Fates. The first fourth of the game before you recruit Ryoma is boring as fuck and stocked to the goddamn brim with route maps. And then once Ryoma joins, you have actually zero fucking incentive to play the game normally
This
anymore.
motherfucker is gatekeeping what can even be considered Fates? How about you go take your elitist attitude and shove it up your ass along with that stick that's already in it, Sleepy Joe?
Hey, that's my line, dick fuck.
All 3 of the Fates games have made a fucking mockery of Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem games don't have world-changing plots to begin with, but what Fates does is fucking inexcusable, and Birthright is absolutely not an exception.
Birthright is easy to learn, accessible, and gets you on the road to understanding some of the more complex mechanics of 3DS Fire Emblem. And if you don't understand that, you're just a fucking moron.
And you're just a fucking weeb. Hoshido Defender looking ass. Ben's the type of guy to act like he has good taste, but only read Isekai. This shit is crazy.
That's completely absent to the point here.
Holy shit, he was right. At the end of the day, none of the Fates games are any good.
Speak for yourself, bitch. Conquest is a top 3 game in the series, and everyone in this fucking call knows it.
I don't know shit. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nah, let Joe cook.
Donald? I thought you were Conquest's biggest hater. What fucking happened? I thought we could rely on you to put this evil into its grave, man.
I used to be right there with you, but I got to chapter 16 and something just clicked. I'm now a certified Conquest defender.
Certified dick rider, more like it. Conquest is just a perversion of Kaga's original idea of skills impacting Fire Emblem taken to an unhealthy and absurd degree.
Bro is just projecting his skill issue onto the series as a whole.
This shit is crazy. Don't you think so too, Kanye?
That shit crack.
What the fuck is this bit?
Oh, nothing. I just called up Ye and asked him how he feels about this whole situation.
Are you seriously trying to convince us you just called up Kanye West and just asked him about this and he said, that shit cray immediately?
That's a fucking sample from one of the songs he's in.
Oh, yeah, which song? Tell me, which song?
The one he did with Jay-Z?
What's the name of the fucking song, Ben?
This joke is a massive L, Don.
Let's just move on and hopefully through God's mercy we'll have forgotten this before long.